Welcome to the FeelsCast. I'm Adam.
And I'm Steph.
And today's topic is Kamen Rider. For those who don't know, Kamen Rider is a live-action Japanese, kind of a children's show that's been running since the mid-70s to today, only taking a brief hiatus off in the 90s. It ran continuously from the early 70s to about 1989, 1990, a bit. It had 3 movies in the 90s that are considered canonical, quote-unquote. Canon in this franchise is weird. And then it got rebooted in 1999/2000 with Kamen Rider Kuga, and it has had new season every year since then. The current season is Kamen Rider Drive, which is about a police officer and cars. And the season, that's ending soon, and in a couple months, I believe the end of September, early October, we get Kamen Rider Ghost, which is about a guy who uses ghosts to fight. He uses Thomas Edison and Billy the Kid, and I'm not joking. He has literally the ghost. He has these little capsules, and that's where he gets his power.
This show is weird.
It's so weird. I love it.
All right. So how did you get into Kamen Rider?
This is really thanks to my one friend Zach. He went through a thing where he he wanted to rewatch Power Rangers, and through that he started watching Super Sentai, which is like Kamen Rider's little brother and Super Sentai's big brother. And through that, he got into Kamen Rider, and then he got me into it with Kamen Rider O's, I believe. I have a clear memory of this. He showed it in our anime club a couple times, and it was great. It was fun. And then he gave me a couple episodes. It was during winter break. I had nothing to do, and it was late at night. I was like, I'll watch it. I'll watch a couple episodes. And I watched everything he gave me in one go, and I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh god,
it's so good.
That's funny.
It's a very good franchise because it has a lot of different individual seasons. So if I don't like this one, you could just pick up another one and watch that and like it. But it's also has this consistent amount of motifs. Everything is. It's not exactly paying homage, but it has certain things that all Kamen Rider seasons have. For instance, one of the big motifs of Kamen Rider as a whole is that all the heroes, all the main characters, are failed monsters, more or less. This goes back to the first Kamen Rider, or Kamen Rider 1 as he's also called. He was a dude, a scientist, college student. He and also BMX enthusiast.
Cool.
He got
BMX bikes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the big things about Kamen Rider is they ride motorcycles. And they have masks. That's what Kamen means. So they are masked riders. But not the American masked rider. That was terrible. But yeah, he gets kidnapped by a evil organization called Shocker, who are basically the Nazis, who do they turn people into cyborg soldiers, and they turn him into their best cyborg soldier. They turn him into Kamen Rider, who's based on a grasshopper. And they turn him into basically a robot man, like a cyborg. Except for his brain. They do that last, but right before they do that, do all the brainwashing and stuff, the scientist who was the head of the project that they kidnapped and forced into doing this, breaks him out and is fight against the evil, and then he gets killed by Spider-Man. Not that Spider-Man.
I was wait, Peter Parker.
I know. It's also really weird because there's a Japanese Spider-Man live-action series who met Kamen Rider, the third Kamen Rider. There's
weird.
Deepest lore. Deepest lore.
Well, okay.
But yeah, so he's a failed monster.
So, what would you say is your favorite, or if you can't pick one, pick 3?
Thank you for the pick 3. Because I like a lot of... I
realize, because you talk about it a lot, so... You can't pick tops. 3. Just 3.
I haven't seen a season that I hate so far, so... If I am forced to pick 3,
You are forced. I'm holding you at gunpoint.
Yeah, I know. Please put the gun away, ma'am.
No.
Oh. Alright, so, if I have to choose, I'd probably first say Kamen Rider O's, the season that got me into it. It's about these coin monsters that are made of greed that resurrect after a long period of time. Their whole goal is to satisfy their insatiable greed and lust for whatever each particular one wants. They create monsters out of human greed. It's really cool. One of them, though, goes rogue because he's the super greediest. He wants all of their powers.
All of the power. Yeah.
So he teams up with a human in order to fight them and gain their powers. And the guy is the monster that leaves them is literally a hand. Like, he has no body. He's a floating hand who attaches himself to a nearly dead guy. And has amazing hair and likes ice pops. Ice pops.
I like him.
Yeah.
He's my favorite
his name's Ankh. He's the best. He is the best. He's a Birdman.
Cool.
And
I like him already.
He teams up with Eiji, a man with no desire, quote unquote. That's his shtick. He travels the world. All he needs is the coins in his pocket and his underwear for tomorrow, is what he says. This is the underwear Kamen Rider.
All of the panties.
It's his thing. It's kind of his thing after a while. That and having the worst fashion sense, but always wearing something different every day.
Is this the one with the makeup battle?
No, okay. That's Kamen Rider Kabuto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
But it was really good because it explores this theme of greed and desire, both from a negative and a positive standpoint. There's this whole speech about like how greed is good, but it's not like we should be all greedy. It's desire is how we live. It's how we continue living.
Greed in moderation.
Yeah, we are a greedy people. We desire. That's how we advance as humanity. It's this.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad to desire things. It's what keeps you focused on your goal.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's a good dynamic. I mentioned this is a kid's show, but they get like deep sometimes, like deepest lore deep.
It's for all the adults that are watching, I guess.
The joke is that Kamen Rider and Sentai are made for the whole family. They have cool action for the kids, good plots for the dads, and hot actors for the moms. Because all the actors are like relatively attractive Japanese men, because it's Japanese show. But it's like, yeah, moms are just like, ooh, I like that AG. Yeah, you wear your tomorrow's underwear.
All right, second one. Let's go.
I have to choose the season before it, Kamen Rider W, or Double as it's called. It's a detective noir series, but It's also kind of a comedy. W's main shtick is that there are two people who become one writer. So they have basically flash drives, two guys with flash drives, and they put them into each has half of a belt, and then they put them together, and they become one dude. Yeah. I'm going to talk about how gay Kamen Rider is in a little bit. I'm going to talk about how super gay it can be. But W, literally two guys become one.
Cool.
Repeatedly. In every episode.
Whoa. In many different positions?
Many different positions. The plot is that main detective guy, he has... his name's Shotaro. He tries to act super cool. Like, he wears the hat and he reads detective novels and he says he's hard-boiled. And they keep saying that he's half-boiled because he cries at the type of a hat.
Aww.
And he's like, I love puppies!
Oh, that's so cute!
And he always tries to act cool, but he's the lamest guy, so I love him. He's paired up with Philip, who is literally Wikipedia. He has this ability to enter...
I think I've seen the first episode.
Yeah, I've showed you the first episode of this one, too. He can enter a mental library that has any information, but he has to use search terms and stuff. It's really cool. But if he finds something he's never heard of, he gets super into it. And he found out about takoyaki, and he's up all night just reading everything about takoyaki.
He sounds like literally us during high school when we go on Wikipedia binges.
He is literally the Wikipedia binge character. They're detectives, and they're protecting the city of Futo. Who, because it's a detective series, it's like, this is my city. I protect it. I'm cool. He's not cool.
Okay.
The bad guys are this really rich family called the Sonozaki family, who are ruling the city by doing this. It's kind of a drug trade, but it's not. But it's acted like it is. It's like, it's a substitute for drugs. They have these flash drives called Gaia memories that when you plug them into your arm, you turn into a monster. And it's like, you can gain this great power and you become addicted to using it. So the main characters use something similar, but with a belt and that are homemade, in order to fight the monsters and save the people and find out who are trying to hurt this city.
Cool.
It's got these serious moments and it has these really emotional moments, and it has this one character beating the main character with her flip flop all the time.
Nice.
It also has my favorite Kamen Rider movie, because every Kamen Rider has at least two movies. I say every, but they started this thing where every Kamen Rider has two movies. But One is a solo movie that is just that rider, and they have like a special form for them, and it's really good. And they have a crossover with the previous year's Kamen Rider, so it's like that show gets to have its like little
like a cameo.
Yeah, no, it's the part at the end of the book.
Oh, an epilogue.
Yeah, they get their epilogue, and like if there was any loose plot threads, they're able to solve that, or if like there was like I just want to see this character again. You get to see
like how Batman Beyond didn't end at
it ended in Justice League.
Yeah.
And then the other writer has their own solo movie within that.
Okay.
And then they have a bit where they cross over. And you get to see two guys fighting, and it's super cool. But the Double W solo movie is my favorite Kamen Rider movie. I can watch it again and again.
Because?
They introduced a villain for it called... I forget his actual name, but he's Kamen Rider Eternal in the movie. He's an evil Kamen Rider.
Sounds cool.
He is. He's part of this terrorist organization who are almost literally zombies. There are people who have been brought back from the dead. They cannot feel pain or heat or anything, but they're sent out to kill. But they've like abandoned that, and now they're just like gone rogue. And it's this great battle. It's a lot of great battles. We get to see a lot of really great monster designs. It has one of my favorite villains because she's this girl who like kind of hates the fact that she can't feel heat anymore. Aww. But she becomes the heat monster. One of the big things in Double is that they have 6 Gaia memories that he transforms into, and each side gets a different color for each one. So it's like each side gets 3. Those 6 memories become the monsters in the movie. So it's like he has to fight his own powers. She gets the heat memory, and it's like super ironic because she's like, I can't feel heat anymore. And I get the heat memory, and I'm like, oh, and then
really
she dies, and I love this movie.
That's so depressing.
And they, so it's 2 riders in one for the movie, and for some other stuff. Shotaro becomes a solo rider in it. He becomes Kamen Rider Joker with his Joker memory. So it's really cool to see it because it's like an all black and purple design, and it's really cool looking.
That's one of my favorite color combos.
Yeah. It looks awesome, and he fights really good. It's I love this movie. And they did a semi prequel to it involving Kamen Rider Eternal's past, which was basically them going like, "Hey, you see this terrorist guy who killed a bunch of people? He's not that bad. He has problems,
but don't we all?"
Yeah, it's a really good movie, but it's kind of an apologist movie. It's like, hey, this guy isn't that bad. Maybe. No.
All right.
But it's my favorite movie. That has a really weird director's cut, which implies something that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Amongst the many Kamen Riders that you've seen, which one would you say was your least favorite? I know you said you didn't really like hate any of them, but which one do you find had like the most moments for you?
I'd say there's kind of 2 that top the list. One is like I still actually really like and respect, but I can understand why people don't like it. It's kind of a fan disfavorite. And one is one that I know if I didn't finish it, so I'm talking from a not perfect angle. I'll start with that one. That one's Kamen Rider Blade. I've heard it doesn't have a great start, and it gets better literally episodes after where I stopped watching. It's cool. Literally, it's one that I want to go back to. I want to watch it all.
And you will.
It has really weird comedic timing. It doesn't always make sense. It's early 2000s. And
the worst time.
It doesn't look pretty. Like modern day Kamen Riders, all like the filming and the fighting, everything. It looks beautiful. The early 2000s stuff looks less so, but some of it still has its own charm. That it works. Doesn't work with Blade for me. But I've heard it gets better, and the story gets less convoluted, and there's less fight, and there's less, like, pointless infighting between characters, and less milk.
Milk?
Milk.
Like real milk, or...
Like, there's this character who drinks milk all the time. That's his shtick. I don't know why he's in the show. That's all he does. And he's, like, related to, like, this one character in this, like, weird, convoluted way. He doesn't matter. He could be just cut out from the series.
Okay. All right.
But I've heard it gets a lot better. And it's just, I like the suit designs and all that. It's not. I didn't like what I watched so far. I felt like I was slogging through it, just like,
Yeah, I get that. I get that. you'll pick it up eventually, because you will.
Oh, I have to. I have a thing in my head that causes pain when I don't finish things. That's I'm stealing that joke from someone, I'm not gonna lie. That's a Dan O'Brien joke.
Okay. Alright, the second one that you were talking about.
The second one, I actually like this series, possibly because of this one thing they did that I'll talk about, but it's kind of, a lot of people don't like it. They say it's really boring, and I can understand this. It's called Kamen Rider Wizard. Wizard is about a wizard who fights...
Wait, so is there literal magic in this?
Yes.
Cool!
Yeah. Well, it's... Okay. The backstory is that people with magic potential have a monster inside them. Like, a literal monster. The main character has a dragon, for instance.
Cool!
Yeah. When you enter a state of extreme despair, like, say your family is killed in front of you, or the thing you've been working hard is destroyed, or you are about to be killed, something that causes you extreme despair, the monster inside tries to break out and basically kills you and takes your form, and then they can also turn into a monster. But if you're able to hold them back and hold them at bay, you gain access to magical powers. And that's what happened to the main character. And a million other people died.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's fighting these monsters who are trying to create more monsters while using these spells, which he has, like, rings for. And one of the main complaints is that it was very much a toy-centric series. Like, Kamen Rider is about the toys, to be honest. It's about selling kids' toys. I'm not gonna ever deny that. It's about selling kids' collectibles, and everyone knows this.
Right.
But a lot of people felt this was very about that, because he got, like, 1 million upgrades in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he had special rings that allow him to change his elemental magic he was doing. And then each of those got their own upgrade. And then he got another upgrade that was like a thing. And then he got another upgrade that he turned diamond for.
Honestly, that doesn't sound like something that would be really bad, because it kind of reads like a video game. Like,
yeah, it's...
Every time you upgrade something, you can get stronger with your magic, especially since it's magic.
Yeah, like, I didn't mind it, but a lot of people thought it was, like, bogging down the show, because the episode would be about him getting this upgrade. And it wouldn't be, say, advancing the plot or anything.
Oh, okay.
And
that makes sense, yeah.
They also had oddball comedy moments once in a while. Like, things I understand, people going like, alright, I get the... But it has moments I really like, too. There's a bit where everyone's falling in love with this one girl. Like, she's an idol, and everyone's like, oh, I love her. So everyone's in love with this idol girl, and the main character doesn't really understand it. He's like, oh, I get it. No one likes me. I'll always have you, Donut. Because he eats donuts all the time.
I'll always have you,
Donut. What he says, he's like talking to a donut. He's like,
that's
Donut,
amazing.
you're all I need. Oh.
That's amazing!
Yeah. And, this is what I watched with the anime club back in the day. And there's this character, he's a monster called Gremlin. And he's, like, capricious, and, like, he dances around, and he wears stupid clothing, and everyone loved him. They were like, oh, he's so funny, and he's, like, harmless, but he's actually evil, ha ha ha. He's, like, he was... People thought he was, like, a Hisoka type character from Hunter x Hunter, where it's obviously he's evil, but you still like him.
Oh.
I hated him. I think he was the most annoying little shit. And then they proved it. It turns out that when he was a human, this was before he was a monster, when he was a human, he would murder women. He was a hairdresser, and he'd murder women with long black hair because he got dumped by a woman with long black hair.
But that's Japan. Literally,
like,
everyone has...
very long.
Okay, I was like, literally everyone has...
Like, women with perfect hair. He would cut their hair and then murder them. This was before he was a monster. And then he turned into a monster.
Argue he was already a monster.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into that. And then he turned into the Gremlin monster, and he kept doing it, and I was just like, validated!
So he's still killing...
women, yeah.
As a gremlin.
Yeah. Well, they have an episode, because they were playing around with him, maybe not being evil, maybe he was good, and the whole time I'm just like, fuck this guy. And he helps protect this woman, who's like a potential monster / wizard. And she's like, I'll protect you, and I'll go against the bad guys who I'm a part of to do this. And then they find out who he is, and I'm just like, yes! I called it! I hate this guy so much!
Cool.
Oh, I hate Gremlin. So that one moment of validation literally sold the series for me. Like, I am fine with it.
Alright, awesome. So you've been trying to get me into Kamen Riders for literally years.
Yes, I have.
And so So far, after every time we've done a podcast, we've been marathoning.
Yes,
Kamen Rider.
We watched Kamen Rider Den-O, which you thoroughly enjoyed.
Sure, let's say that.
You liked it. You looked at Momotaro's crotch.
Well, he forces it in your face, like literally. I feel like we need to make a drinking game one day, just to every time. Anyway,
yes.
How about you talk about Den-O for a bit?
Sure. Den-O is a more of a comedic Kamen Rider season. It's about a hapless and kind of scrawny and weak and like accident-prone guy, Ryotaro, who one day comes across the train of time, the Den Liner. It's literally a train that crosses through time, and in it, because of the reason the train comes across him is that these monsters start appearing. They're called Imagin. They possess a person. They grant that person a wish, and they go through that person back in time, and then destroy like shit. They like fuck shit up. But the goal being to destroy the present via the past. He comes across, Ryotaro comes across four Imagin who aren't evil, who don't want to destroy the past, and he befriends them, and they become, all like the five of them together, become Kamen Rider Den-O, and each one is like a different form they can use. And it's super good, because it's silly and funny, and it doesn't have the strongest plot. Like, at the end of the day, that's its biggest weakness. It doesn't have a great plot.
I honestly, when you're trying to play with the show that's trying to play with time, a lot of times there's going to be issues. There's
so many goddamn issues.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of paradoxical issues.
Like, the paradox episode?
Yeah.
God damn, I hate that episode.
There's a lot of continuity issues, and it's just, like, really, really confusing at the end of the day.
They changed one of the characters from literally being, like, a 20-something girl to being, like, 12. But it's the same character.
Yeah.
I hate that. That's my least favorite. That is literally my least favorite part of Den-O.
It was very sad.
But Den-O I think is a very good series to start with, because it's light, it's fun, the characters are hilarious, you become attached to them. All the Imagin who are on the good guy side are hilarious.
Like Birdman.
So, my name is Sieg.
Fucking Birdman.
I mean, the Momotaro's is like the sweetest guy.
I love Momo.
And he looks like a demon, and he's just like, I don't want his friends in the fight things.
He's a cupcake.
He's literally a cupcake. He's a cupcake and kind of an idiot.
He's the best. Like, I wish I had a Momo.
Everyone does. And there's also like a million movies for Den-O. We watched like a quarter of them. Because I can't subject you to all of them. That's cruel.
I probably wouldn't sit through all of it.
Oh, is it wrong I forgot about a season when talking about the worst Kamen Riders?
Oh, we can go back now.
I remembered one that's very contentious, but has a special place in my heart. It's called Kamen Rider Decade.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Decade was the 10th anniversary of the restart of Kamen Rider, called the Heisei era.
That actually makes the name make sense now.
Yeah, he's the Decade. And the plot of that is that he goes to the past, alternate versions of the past 9 Kamen Rider seasons. So, it's like, alright, picture your favorite thing that has, like, a lot of, like, continuity. And then picture that character, this has never happened before. This is really weird to describe, isn't it? I'm trying to think of, like, a good way to bridge this gap and explain what... It's like, when you hear about it, you expect, oh, sweet, he's going to go back to the Kamen Rider Decade universe, or Kamen Rider Den-O universe, let's say. And he's going to meet all the characters from Den-O, and they'll bring back the actors, and it'll be sweet. And they don't do that. Actually, they do that for Den-O. Den-O's a bad example. The Agito, let's say, goes to the Kamen Rider Agito universe, right? You expect him to bring back all the Og characters from that season. So all the people who grew up with it and saw it as a kid, they can be like, oh, that's so cool. And all the people who, like, didn't can be like, oh, this is a good introduction to this. But it's nothing like the actual season that you went to.
Oh, so was their intent for this season to draw in more viewers, maybe? Like,
I have no clue. I think it's a celebration.
Because it sounds like it's like at the same... The way you're describing it sounds like they're trying to celebrate their 10 years after the reboot.
Yeah.
And at the same time, also trying to see... Like, how DC did their reboot. Trying to, like, draw in more people watching it.
It wouldn't surprise me if that was part of it. But... one of the things I like to say is that they... The person who... Like, the director for each universe he went to, like, every 2 episodes, had a page report about what that season was about. And it had just all the little like, weird things about that season. Like, oh, there's a laundromat, and there's a guy who, he's, like, young, and there's a school, and, like, there's people there's 4 of them, and it's like they're a club of evil. And that's nothing like the actual season, but all those little facts are true. So they, like, make a whole world out of those little facts. So
okay.
it's nothing, it's really,
okay.
It's a problem. And the big plot of the season is that this character is supposed to be the destroyer of worlds. Huh. He's supposed to go to each of these places and kill the main Kamen Rider in them. And instead, he goes there and befriends them. And he's just like, yeah, okay, I'll be friends with you. Also, he's a complete asshole, but I love that. His nickname is Long Legs McAsshole, because he has long legs and he's an asshole. Say what you will, I love Long Legs McAsshole. He's the best. He has the ability to transform into other Kamen Riders.
Oh, that's neat. That's awesome.
Yeah, and use their, like, abilities and stuff. It's a neat little thing.
Cool.
But
alright. Go on.
It's just... There's a bit where, like... That's another season that has a really bad overall plot, because it's like, he has to destroy all these worlds, but he doesn't, and because of that, all the worlds start ending up being destroyed themselves.
Huh.
Because it's like a dimension thing where all the dimensions are, like, crashing into each other.
Oh.
But if he destroys the Kamen Rider for each one, they'll be safe somehow. Like, it's not explained how, but it's like, you don't have to worry about that. And since he does it, he ends up being the destroyer of worlds anyway.
Once again, we have to emphasize that this is a children's show.
Yeah.
A lot of things will probably not make sense.
and one of the main oh god, there's so many fucking things about Decade. I'm sorry, I'm entering a hole
Okay, let's get out of that, because we're drawing on our last 3 minutes.
Oh no, Decade.
Is there like a season that you find that you want to talk about right now that we haven't yet, that you would recommend?
Well, there's a lot, actually. How about I talk about the one that's going on right now, Kamen Rider Drive.
All right,
it's not done. I can't give my, like, final stamp of approval, but so far I like it. It's about a cop who, all right, years before a year before the actual start of the series, there was a thing called the global slowdown, where literally everything just went in slow motion real fast, and these robot monsters started fucking shit up. And then a mysterious Kamen Rider saved the day with these little, like, RC cars. Like,
cute.
Like, picture, like, Hot Wheels. Except they're alive.
Cool!
I know. 6 months to a year later, it's the slowdown is still happening. It's like, but it's random small spots, and there's a designation of the police to deal with it. Our main character is part of that police task force and ends up becoming Kamen Rider Drive with a belt that can talk. He's like a person who died and became the belt.
Weird.
Yeah. So he uses these cars and he gets upgrades and he fights the monsters. And it's surprisingly good because he doesn't have a motorcycle. That sounds weird. This whole season is like a weird, almost, like, every character is a weird homage to a previous Kamen Rider thing. The main character doesn't drive a car at all. He is doesn't drive a motorcycle at all. He's the anti-Kamen Rider. Because he drives a car, and he's a cop, and Kamen Riders aren't cops, they're heroes. As in, like, superheroes. And they have this weird, like, discussion about the distinction between the two. And, like, how they cross the line, like, they can be the same, but they're also their own thing.
Whoa.
It's cool. There's this character who literally mimics the Kamen Rider story, as in the original Kamen Rider story, where he is a person who becomes a robot and all that, but reverse. He was a good guy who was like a robot, who was like one of the bad guys who was good, but who was like the same, like, monster, let's say. But he turned evil by brainwashing. So it's like a weird reversal of it all.
Okay.
And it's so good. It's really fun. A lot of people... Something you'll find when you watch Kamen Rider is that the fandom is essentially complains about the current series, watches the new season, complains about the current season, talks about the last season as if it was the best thing ever. Like, it always happens. It's inevitable. In, like, 6 months, people are going to be like, man, Kamen Rider Drive is the best. Kamen Rider Ghost is terrible.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I don't really go into, like, an actual fandom.
Yeah, fandoms
are weird. Yeah, I mean, it's expected. If you go into, like, a condensed hive mind of people talking about a fandom, like, a show that they really, really like...
You're gonna get, like, the weirdos and the assholes.
Yeah, you're gonna get, like, super weirdos, because we're weirdos.
Yeah.
So imagine us, like, 10 times worse. Mm-hmm. But, yeah. I think we're drawing to the closing of our Kamen Rider podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, before we go, though, last week's episode, something happened.
Oh, yeah, last week's episode died.
Let's not talk about that. But, sorry.
Wait, let me bring up something. Because of last week's episode, because it never happened, how gay Kamen Rider is. Kamen Rider's really gay. Because almost every there's always the main rider, and then there's a secondary rider.
Oh, yeah.
And of course they're shipped together, because there's always two guys. And then every rider usually has, like, a male friend at some point. And it's always just like, come on, guys. You want each other, it's obvious. Like Momotaros and Ryotaro in Den-O. We're watching Forze right now, and it's so gay. In Kamen Rider Kuga, it was the Kamen Rider himself, and he has like a cop friend, and those two are such a couple that when they did the Decade universe of that one, they changed the cop to a woman.
Oh yeah, you did say that.
and the main rider was just openly in love with her the entire time.
Oh man, that's amazing. This concludes our Kamen Rider podcast.
Yeah. Where can we find you?
Nowhere.
All right. I'm at MangaHead on Twitter and Tumblr. I think my Tumblr's the same.
No, your Tumblr is the MangaHead.
God, I've really got to learn what my things are. And my review blog is anime reviews and other stuff.blogspot.com.
You can find this podcast at feelscast.tumblr.com. Or if you'd rather do the WordPress version, that's thefeelscast.wordpress.com. You can find us on iTunes now.
Yeah, give us a review.
No, you don't have to.
No, review your favorite Kamen Rider season.
If you want to leave a comment on the WordPress page too, yeah, we can do that. We can do stuff, and maybe we'll answer questions.
Are we on YouTube also?
We are, kind of. Yeah, but I'm not gonna. The channel is just the FeelsCast, but we don't have an actual like URL because we don't have enough subscribers or some bullshit.
No, fuck it. Oh, fine. No, we're literally everywhere on the internet.
We are everywhere except for on Facebook and Twitter.
Sure, like the places we really should be. All right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. That was the FeelsCast.
That was the FeelsCast.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Steph.
Henshin.
Oh God, you're such a fucking nerd.
I can't help it.